It is Tuesday, May 7th, and the Dawn Report is back in your life. I am Matt Modi, and I have 4 home run predictions for you guys to lock in for today's MLB betting slate. We got a pretty decent slate of games from a weather perspective. Finally, 4 home runs to be hit. It's hot, it's humid, it's windy. All good, 4 home runs to be hit, so let's hope that we can have a good day today. Before I can get into today's picks, I do have to do a recap from yesterday, which was an amazing day. Finally starting to have some success on these home run predictions yesterday. I gave out 3 home run picks. We got 2 of those 3 to cash. Thank you to Shohei Ohtani. Thank you to Bryce Harper. We only missed Max Muncy, but we'll gladly take a 2 for 3 day from a home run perspective. That now brings our total results on the entire season from season to start. We're still down a pretty decent amount, down 10.55 units. But if you allow me to cherry pick a date from April 21st and on, we're actually up 7.63 units. Now, that is a pretty arbitrary date to start tracking, admittedly, but there is kind of like a line in the sand. Since that date, April 21st and on, things have been going a lot better from a home run perspective. So let's hope that we can continue that run after an amazing day yesterday, getting 2 to cash. Let's hope we can continue that today. If you are not already, I would appreciate it if you could like the video, comment, subscribe. If you're new to my channel, you're probably going to catch us at right after the worst part of the season. Granted, from April 21st on, it's been good. But even from May further, it's probably going to be an amazing stretch that we're going to have. So again, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. And then the last thing that I will mention before I get into it is that I do have a Dub Club where I send everything out for only $5 a month. The Dub Club gets you the same picks you see on YouTube and on Twitter that I give out for free. I just send them out early. So a lot of times, by the time people watch YouTube videos, the odds change, right? Unfortunately, by the time I record, edit, and post a video, the odds are different from when I started recording. So my way to combat that is just have the Dub Club where I send everything out immediately. So you're able to get my picks as soon as I decide what they are. So pretty valuable when I send stuff out early. $5 a month because you can get it for free on YouTube and on Twitter. And if you'd rather do that, that's totally fine with me. I just like to give people the option. But that's enough of that. Let's see if we can get donged today. Let's see if we can have another good day. Starting in the Astros versus Yankees game, and I'm taking Aaron Judge to hit a home run plus 255 odds at FanDuel. So it seems as though Judge is back to just crushing baseballs, hitting a ton of home runs. Because when you look at his advanced stats from the last 2 weeks to today, like right over the last 14 days, they're absolutely insane. They're everything you look for from a home run perspective. He leads the MLB in terms of average exit velocity, and that just measures, on average, how fast does the ball leave the bat when you make contact. His is the best in the entire MLB over the last 14 days, and it's at a number of 98.1 miles per hour. That is an absolutely ridiculous number. Now, for context, the MLB considers anything 95 and above to be considered a hard hit. And from a home run perspective, anything that's 95 and above with a launch angle between 25 and 35 degrees, that's the sweet spot for a home run. That's basically saying that every single time Aaron Judge makes contact with the baseball, it is not only in the sweet spot, but a little bit above the sweet spot for a home run. It's a crazy, crazy number. To give you context, last year, Ronald Acuna Jr. had the highest average exit velocity. His was at 94.7. Now, I understand that's over the course of an entire season, and this is just over a 14-day sample size. Obviously, it's not going to continue, but we're getting him in the middle of a hot streak, and that 98.1 miles per hour number on average is just a crazy number. He also has a ton of other crazy numbers as well. He's got a hard hit percentage of 73.5%. That means literally 3/4 of the time that he makes contact with the baseball, essentially, he's getting a hard hit. That is also the highest number in the MLB over the last 2 weeks. His fly ball ratio and his pull rate are not exactly where you'd be looking for. They're both at 42.4%. Generally, you like those to be 45 or 50% and above. But with all his other metrics, 42.4% is totally fine because he's got an ISO rate of 32.6%. That's within the excellent category. A barrel rate of 23.5%. That is also in the excellent category. If you're unfamiliar, ISO rate just stands for isolated power, literally measures power. Barrel rate measures essentially contact, how well you hit the barrel of the bat when you make contact. And then in terms of the pitching matchup, it's going up against Justin Verlander for the Astros, who, if you just look at his ERA through 3 starts, you're going to say, oh, he's having a pretty good year. That's more lucky than anything. If you look at his advanced stats like FIP, expected ERA, shows that he is getting a little bit lucky. He's also allowing a barrel rate of 10.4%. That's a pretty bad number. And a fly ball ratio of 48.9%. That's another pretty bad number. Judge did struggle against Verlander early in his career, but he seemed to come out of that last year. His last 3 at-bats against Verlander, 2 hits, one of which was a home run. So let's hope that he does that again tonight, mashing a home run for us. Next up, we're heading to the Diamondbacks for the Diamondbacks and the Reds game, and I'm taking Christian Walker to hit a home run plus 300 odds at FanDuel as well. So this is the best game of the day from a home run perspective. If you honestly wanted to just choose 4 players in this game to hit a home run, I wouldn't blame you. The issue was, if you look at these 2 rosters, they don't have a ton of guys who have been mashing that meet a lot of my metrics that I look for from a home run perspective. And it's one good pitcher in Zach Gallen, which we'll get into. And then Frankie Montas is pitching for the Reds, who's a little bit below average, but not a terrible pitcher. But luckily, one of the batters that does meet literally every single home run metric that I look for is Christian Walker, who is obviously who we are going with for this pick, who is another player similar to Judge, who's just been crushing the baseball. Plus 300 is admittedly pretty short for someone like Walker, who does not hit for power like Ohtani or Judge. But it makes sense why it's at plus 300 when you look into the numbers. He's got 4 home runs in the last 2 weeks, an ISO rate of 38.9%. That's the 5th best in the entire MLB over the last 2 weeks. A barrel rate, a crazy barrel rate, a ridiculous barrel rate of 32.3%. That is literally the 2nd best in the MLB over the last 2 weeks. Only Ohtani has a higher barrel rate than Christian Walker over the last 14 days. And that's pretty good company, right? Being second to Ohtani, that's pretty good company. And then his other advanced metrics are phenomenal as well. Fly ball ratio of 48.4%, very close to the 50% number that you look for. And that fly ball rate is especially good for this game today because, as I mentioned, it's the best game of the day by far from a weather perspective when you take into account the weather and you take into account the stadium as well, right? The Red Stadium is so small, Great American Small Park. It's humid. The ball should carry more than it normally does. So if he just gets one in the air with a little bit of power, it's going to fly out of the ballpark because of the weather and because it's a short ballpark. And Frankie Montas, as I mentioned, is pitching for the Reds. Not a great pitcher. He's not terrible, but he's definitely not a good pitcher. He's also a right-handed pitcher. 6 of the 7 home runs that Walker has hit this season have come against righties. If you look at his entire season, not just the last 2 weeks, but the entire year, Walker has an ISO rate of 23.6%. That's not quite within the excellent category, but that's still good. And then that's up from 11.1% this year against lefties. So he's significantly better against righties. And Montas also has pretty decent stats for home runs, that what you're looking for going up for a batter going up against that type of pitcher. Fly ball ratio of 47.8%. And overall, Ballpark Pal lists this as a plus 10 extreme advantage in favor of the batter, which would be Christian Walker. So a lot of reasons why we like him tonight. That's our second play. Third up, same game, Diamondbacks versus Reds. Eloy De La Cruz to hit a home run plus 480 odds at Bet Rivers. So same game, just going with the other team, backing Eloy De La Cruz. Admittedly, this one is going to be a little bit scarier. As I mentioned, Zach Gallen is pitching for the Diamondbacks. Pretty good pitcher. But we're also getting this for pretty decently better odds at plus 480. And there are still a lot of reasons why you want to back Eloy in this one. For starters, he obviously has the same exact weather advantages that Walker does, having this game being played at Reds Stadium. And Eloy has some pretty awesome advanced metrics as well. Now, his power numbers specifically aren't quite as good as Walker, as Aaron Judge, as the next guy we're going to talk about, but they're definitely not bad either, right? One stat that you notice that I've been looking at a lot more recently is average exit velocity, right? How hard is this player hitting the ball when they make contact? And looking at average exit velocity, that's right around when things started to turn around for me with the Dong report as well. So hopefully I am on to something here. And Eloy, he's only 3 spots below Aaron Judge in terms of the highest average exit velocity in the MLB over the last 14 days. I mentioned that Aaron Judge's was the highest. Eloy De La Cruz's is at 97.1 average exit velocity, 97.1 miles per hour. That's still a really, really good number. 4th best in the entire MLB over the last 2 weeks. His ISO rate over the last 2 weeks is at 20.9%. That's in the good, not excellent category. His barrel rate is in the excellent category at 15.4%. He also has a really good hard hit percentage of 57.7% as well. Not as good as Aaron Judge, but that 57.7% number is still pretty good. And overall, Eloy De La Cruz, he only has 2 home runs over the last 2 weeks. Both of them have come against right-handed pitching, which Zach Gallen is. And on the year, Eloy's hit 8 home runs. 7 of them have come against righties. So Eloy should be able to mash one tonight. Hopefully he does, cashing this out for us. Last up, 4th and final pick of the evening. Tigers versus Guardians. Riley Green to hit a home run, plus 575 odds at BetRivers. As my last play, I have no idea why the books are still pricing Riley Green at such high odds. You thought they would have caught up to it at this point, how well this guy's been hitting, how much he's been mashing, but they haven't. He hit a home run yesterday. I looked at him, decided not to go with him. That was a mistake. Let's hope I can rectify that today, and he goes yard again today. Over the last 2 weeks, he's hit 6 home runs. He has an ISO rate of 43.5%. That's the second best in the MLB over the last 2 weeks. A barrel rate of 21.2%. That is the 6th best in the MLB over the last 2 weeks. And obviously those ISO rate and barrel rate numbers are well within the excellent category and much higher than what the excellent threshold is, right? For ISO rate, 25% and above is excellent. He's above 40%. For barrel rate, 15% and above is considered excellent. He's above 20%. Very, very good numbers there. And then his deeper, more advanced analytics look good as well. Average exit velocity. That's what put me on Riley Green in the first place when I went with him last week. Average exit velocity of 94.8 miles per hour, just below averaging a hard hit every single time he makes contact, which would be 95, but very, very close, literally 0.02 miles per hour below, which would be considered a hard hit every single time. But the 94.8 is still really good. 10th best in the MLB over the last 2 weeks. Now, if you look at his ISO rate on the year, it is better against right-handed pitching than it is against lefty, and he's facing a lefty tonight. But his ISO rate, if you just isolate his ISO rate to lefties, it's at 26.9%. That's still well within the excellent category. Over the last 2 weeks, he's got an ISO rate of 40% against left-handed pitching. Granted, that's in a small sample size, only 11 plate appearances against lefties over the last 2 weeks, but still, he hit a home run in one of those 11 plate appearances, and his advanced metrics look good as well. His fly ball ratio against lefties, 50%. That's awesome. Another awesome game from a weather perspective, 4 home runs to be hit as well. Heavy winds blowing out of the stadium in a humid day in Cleveland, so that's good for us. And then in terms of the pitching matchup, Logan Allen is pitching for the Guardians. Absolutely a mashable left-handed pitcher, right? Allows a fly ball ratio of 47.6%, a pull rate of 50% specifically against lefties. He's also allowing a barrel rate of 9.5% as well. All those are very bad numbers for a pitcher. All those are very good numbers for us looking for a hitter to hit a home run off that pitcher. So all in all, for plus 575 odds, very, very good price here. Let's hope that he comes through for us. Rounding out our 4th and final pick of the video. And that's all we got. 4 dong predictions for you guys to lock in. Make sure to like the video, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Appreciate everybody for watching, and have a good one.